G-Vector is the game that actually inspired the concept of the Rail Shooters Archives, the whole reason that I started this project. You see, I found this game just randomly at an anime convention, looked at it, said, what is this? This looks pretty fun. Popped in, and I was like, this is a super awesome rail shooter with incredible music. Why have I never heard of this game? Why does no one talk about this? This is fun. This is exciting. This is phenomenal. I love the sense of speed. The music is great. G-Vector seemed like a really awesome game. It wasn't until later that I began to realize why people don't talk about it. But first, let's talk about the game. As you can see, you go super fast through some tunnel-esque stages, and you have an auto-fire button as well as some lock-on lasers. The game tries to limit your lock-on lasers so you can't abuse them, but the limiting system doesn't actually work. In fact, your lasers recover faster than you can spam them. So yeah, hold the auto-fire and spam the lock-on laser button. You'll pretty quickly wish that you could reconfigure the controls to make this more convenient. The sense of speed is great, and the music is phenomenal. It feels like a wonderful arcadey game. Yeah, the movement is kinda on the stiff side. It's far from unresponsive. It's just, it doesn't have that sort of glide and inertia to it like most spaceship, airplane-based rail shooters do. You just stiffly move from place to place like you would in a more standard shmup. And I do admit your ship takes up a bit more of the screen than it should. It isn't until you get to the first boss that things really get dicey, though. First of all, you have to get through the entire stage and beat the boss on one go. When you lose, you start from the beginning of the stage, so don't bother wasting any continues on the first stage. Just start over completely when you lose to the first boss, which you probably will. As it stands, your ship can barely take any hits. I believe it's like 2 or 3, so yeah, you're gonna have to really be careful. So the fact that you basically just spam your homing missiles doesn't really matter as much as you'd think it would. However, while you're fighting that first boss, that's where you begin to notice the first little bit of jank. You'll notice that it's clipping through the ground there. In fact, you can clip through the ground. The ground basically isn't there. But it's when the second stage starts that the game really tells you, yeah, we kinda hate you. You see, right now, I am actually holding left on the controller. You cannot move as soon as you see your ship. You have to wait until the reticle pops in. Even then, it's a little bit after that you can actually move. Notice what is happening here at the beginning of Stage 2. The enemy actually shoots at me, and the bullet gets halfway to my ship before I am actually allowed to move. Okay, people, that's a dick move. You literally have to be holding a direction on the controller at the start of this stage, so that way the millisecond you can move, you get out of the way. It's manageable, but you really shouldn't be pulling crap like that. It's when you get to the second stage boss, which fills your face full of slowdown and afterburner polygons. Hey, can you see what's going on? I sure as fuck can't. That I wind up getting stuck. You see, I was able to deplete this thing's hit points all the way down to where it's almost beaten, and then it says, hey, guess what? Fuck you, lasers. I can't get past this. The fuck you lasers are just way too much. It's when you start watching the autoplay demos that some more of the jank really kicks in. Like the demo that shows you how to play eventually runs out of inputs and just gets stuck in the corner of the screen for some reason. And the camera in the, hey, let's make the game look super cool and spin the camera around the player demo version thing actually clips through the floor. Repeatedly. Egad, did they program this camera by having someone smack their head against the keyboard with completely random coordinates? It's actually the same spin in every demo. And unfortunately, as I said, I'm stuck at stage 2, so this is the only way I can show you any of the other stages in the game. Having said that, the sheer basicness of the rail shooter genre saves this. Look, here's the deal. The controls work. You can move and get out of the way of enemy projectiles just fine. Yes, there's that one at the start of Stage 2, but you can get out of the way of that as well. So it isn't really much of an issue there. You can get out of the way of enemy projectiles, and you can shoot and blow them up. So the game is technically beatable. It functions, and honestly, it's kind of fun, aside from some really cheap little bits of jank. As such, this isn't really a game I would recommend to everyone, but if you really, really love rail shooters, and you want to play one of, if not the most challenging game in the genre, and you're aware that some of the challenge comes from the jank, then I would recommend G-Vector. But otherwise, maybe not. So, maybe that's why no one told me about G-Vector before? Either way, it's not that bad of a game, and at least I'm having fun with it, even if I'm stuck at stage 2.